Okay, great. So today, right? Today is day 14 of Playwright, and we are almost there to work on the element side. Okay. What we have to talk about is we have to talk about this locator thing. We're talking about today about locator, right? Locator class. So again, just to give a brief, what we have learned is that there is something called browser. We have a browser context. Within the browser context, we have a page. Page represents your one tab, and within that page, you have multiple elements. You find an element using locator, right? In Playwright, the locator. Now you have a screen here, right? You have, let's say, an email field. So this one locator, right, which you would write. How do you write it? You will write something like this: page dot locator. Give a CSS or an XPath for it. Dot, right? Dot, and here you will specify the action which needs to be done on this locator. This locator is representing what? Let's say this email field, right? You want to fill some data on it, right? So you would try to have some methods, right? In case of Playwright, if you want to fill the data in a text box, the method name is fill. Okay, fill. In case of in case of Selenium, I think I remember it's send keys, right? So again, the operations are same, right? Whatever you were able to do with Selenium, same thing can be done with Playwright. It's the methods names which you have to be knowing about, right? There is no new concept to learn from here, right? Except one, which I am going to talk about now. But the actions which you will take are same as you were taking in Selenium, WebDriver IO, or Cypress. Okay. Now, okay. Now, right. So we're going to talk about these methods, and to understand the list of it, this is where you should go. You will go on the API, go to the classes. We have an locator here, right? And if you click on it, these are all the methods available which you can take on a element. Okay. Now let's open our web page. This is our website which we'll be working on, right? Okay, why it is complaining? No, it is not complaining. Let me do one thing. Let's create a branch for today. Git status, I feel I have already checked in. Git checkout -b day 14. Okay, let's skip it. Yesterday's test case and collapse it, and let's create a new one. Test. We have test case, let's say 19. We'll say async page. Okay, so here what we're going to do is let's hit the URL of it, right? How do you hit the URL? Yeah, no.
Phil, can you just quickly recap on the imports that are we are using in this file for
Okay,
all the fixtures that we are using?
okay. You now we do not. Okay, let me do one thing, right? Let us create a new. Okay, if you see, right, at least for this test case, which I'm currently working on, right? What did you import it? You are adding test here and you are adding page here, right? These are the
Yeah.
only new things which you have. And if you see your right, page and test, right, are both coming from this library, right? And this is the only library which we have imported from, which we have added to our dependency, right, in our package.json file, right, which is giving
Okay.
us all the required things, right? So again, very simple in the structure part. Do not have to remember a lot of different libraries, just this one. Okay, you do not need this, at least for the current test case, because I'm not using it there, but in the other places it's being used, so that's why they are being mentioned. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
let's move ahead, right? So test page, right? So if I have to open a URL, what method to use? Go to, right?
Go to.
So this will hit the where is the website? Here's the website. Control C here, right? Now go to is returns your promise, right? So we'll be using await. Await. So great. So we'll be able to open the page now, right? Now the next thing which we want to do is we wanted to work on this email field, right? We wanted to fill some text on it. So what we'll do is, first of all, let's find our CSS path or XPath, which we did last time also. This is the email thing. Let me use the CSS path. Name equals to email. Uh, Name equals to email. What we'll do is we'll say await page dot locator, right? Locator, and use this, right? Now, see here, right? What I wanted you to realize is, see here. If you look at it, right? If I say page dot locator, what does it return you? It returns your locator, right? It just returns your locator object, right? And it is this, but it is not returning your promise. It does not return your promise. Now, can someone please explain, as per them, right? What could be the reason of not giving me a promise here? Whereas, if you think about it, right, your page, your web page is dynamic, right? Is dynamic here. You would want, right, that it should be able to go to the browser, find the element there, and give it back to you, right? Right? And to complete that process, right, because it's a asynchronous operation here again, right? In this case, it should have returned me a promise, right? But it is not returning me a promise. Why? What do you think about it? Why it is not returning me a promise currently? Does it does it say something about the approach which Playwright does here to find the element? Any thoughts about it? Yeah, Kiran, please.
Is it because of the automatic waiting mechanism that they want to like iterate over the time?
Auto waiting is definitely in Playwright there, right? And we have to talk about it. Maybe tomorrow we'll start discussing that part. But it is not the reason for it. Okay.
Mhm.
And auto waiting again, right? For auto waiting also, right? You would need to wait, right? So there also you need to have that async thing, right, over there. In this case, it is not doing it,
Okay.
right? Locator is returning you what? It is just returning you the locator object, not the promise of it,
Yes.
right? Try to compare this with Java, right? If you remember Java, if someone remembers Java, let me write it. If even in case of Selenium, right? How do you write it? You would create a WebDriver, right? And you would say find the element, and then you will write by CSS path by .xpath, right? And then you will provide the thing here, right? So locator over here, right? The way you're writing it is something similar to this, right? You're finding the element, correct? You're trying to find the element. Where does it go and find the element? On the DOM, right? So it is not instant, right? It might take some time. So it there is a uncertainty there, right? And that is what asynchronous operation is about. If you know that it would have completed immediately, then you do not need to put in, because you're using JavaScript now, right? You're using JavaScript as a language. If it was sequential and it was able to find the thing, right, you there is no need to write await. But you know that this operation itself to perform, right, it should go on the browser and find the element, and it might take some time. So it is not making sense here, right, that why they would not provide promise here, right? Now, I hope you're understanding the question, right? Now the answer to the question is that why they are not providing. The reason they are not providing it, because at this point, when you say this, right, when you're saying name equals to Akhil, or let's say email, right, when you write this part here, right, the CSS power X path here, Playwright will not find the element. Playwright is not finding the element. It is just forming a object which is of the type locator, right, and registering with itself, and that's it. It is not going on the net to find the element. Getting it? It is not going there to find the element. Yeah, Anand.
Yeah, I recall yesterday's discussion. Only when we append an action to the locator strategy, then only it tries to evaluate and
Absolutely correct, right?
figure out.
Whenever
Yeah.
you try to take, whenever you say, right, after the locator, whenever you will say that I'm taking some action on it, right, at that point of time, it will go and even find the element using the locator object it formed earlier. And then just before performing the action, right, it will go and dynamically look for the element, right? and that is where the promise also comes into the picture. Okay, now this, what is this approach called as? This is called as lazy, right? Lazy, I would say what, lazy identification, right? Lazy loading, right? You would have heard the term as lazy loading in the case of the UI development, right? Or like they load the page lazily, right? In case of Playwright, when it comes to finding the element on the page, right, on the DOM, what it does is it finds the element with this lazy approach. What does it mean? That here Playwright, what Playwright does is it does not find the element on this part. It will not. It will just register. It will get to know, okay, if that when I will have to find it, I will find it using this approach. That is what is getting registered with Playwright. It is not actually going and finding the element. When it will take that action, or when it will go and find the element, whenever you take an action, right? Whenever you will say, okay, go and fill it, right? Whenever you go and say fill it, what will happen is it will use this object, go to the HTML DOM, look for the element, find it, and then also fill the value in it. Now, if you see, if you think about it, it solves a lot of problems for you. How? Maybe, see, what will happen here? Whenever you really wanted to do something about that element, only at that point of time, Playwright is going and finding the element, right? It helps you in multiple ways, right? First, the most important one, you will not get that stale element kind of an issue now. Getting it? Why? Because while you're performing the action, it is at that point of time going and finding it, right? Whereas in case of Selenium, right, what happens? If you say find element, right, and you say find element here, and you store it somewhere, right? Let's say element, what will happen? Let's say you did this at time t1, right? At time t1, it was able to find the element. Now at time t2, you are saying element one dot send keys. Maybe, and you're saying this, right? This is the time t2. Maybe during this time period, something happened on the DOM, and this element does not exist, or it has changed its state. So what error will you get? You will get tail element, right? But in this case, what happens is, if you have even find the element here, right, or whenever you use it, right, whenever you want to take the action, at that point of time, it goes and finds the element on the screen and does the operation on it. So you are reducing your chances of getting a stale element kind of an error in case of Playwright. And that is also one of the reason of your flaky test case, right, in Selenium and all. But here they're trying to reduce it using this approach. Yeah, Anand, please.
So, Akhil, my question was, how much difference does it make in case of JavaScript in Playwright? Like, if I quickly, with this locator strategy, I just append the action also. So then, in that case, will there not,
Mhm.
will there be very much time difference in that
No, no.
case?
See, okay.
No,
To
right?
under see, you have to understand. Let me give you a scenario now. Okay, maybe in that context you'll be able to understand. Do you write, if when once you'll start writing a code, right? Once you'll start writing a framework, will you be writing a code like this? No, right? You will not. What you do
No.
is you will form page object model pattern, right?
Yeah,
What is the
yeah.
intention over
Was
there?
it?
What is the intention over there? You create locators, right? Somewhere, right? And does the actions in the methods, correct?
Yes,
That is how
yes.
we do it, right? Now, what does it mean? It means that you might want to reuse your elements multiple times, right? In a lot of different methods, correct? In those cases,
Correct.
right, it will start making sense. You are using a locator to fill the value, to grab the value, to clear the value, and maybe in a lot of different methods, right? What happens is whenever you want to take the action, right, only that point of time that locator would be found on the element, right? So if you see this, right, page locator gives you what? It gives you a locator, right? Let's store it like this. Let's store it like this. We'll say let L1 equals to this. Okay. Now I will say L1 dot fill. Let's say okay. Right now I am saying L1 dot clear. Right, clear. Sorry, clear. Right now, if it was Java, right? If it was Java, how many times the elements would that Selenium will go and find the element? Will it go and find the element twice? No,
No,
it will
no.
only find it once, right? Which is at this place, right? Whatever it has,
Yeah.
it will be having it there, right? and on that element it will go and fill the value and clear it, right? Like this. In case of Playwright, what is happening? Here it just registered that okay, someone would try to find the element using this approach, right? Just this information is stored with Playwright. It is not actually going and finding the element, right? So it is in the memory of Playwright. Assume it this way, right? Now, when it will go and find it, when you're taking the action. So at line 580, it will go and find the element and fill it on it. Since you're doing it here, right? It is like dynamic, right? On the need basis, it is going and finding the element. And what is that need? When you want to take an action. So it will go and find the element here also, and it will go and find the element again here also. Getting it?
Yeah, now it's like clear.
Right? And since if you would
Concept.
see now, right, all these methods here, right, are returning you promise. Promise void, even clear, right, would return your promise. So what you have to do is await. I hope, right, everyone is getting the point.
This
Right?
is really a very very important differentiation. Like even after learning, working for so long with the different automation UI tools, but I was not clear about this. Like for me, Playwright definitely is for the first time I'm trying, but yeah, it really makes sense right now.
See, depending, once you know these like small things, right, you will be able to design your page object model accordingly, right? Right? See, in case of WebDriver IO, I think in WebDriver IO also, right, whenever you try to find the element, right, it does it instantly, right? It just goes and find it, right? So there, the approach to be taken while designing a page object model was different. In case of Playwright, we'll be using a different approach. We'll see like where should I keep this kind of a locator. Now, what I feel is that I can create this locator in my page object model of Playwright as a variable also. I do not need a function this time. But in case of WebDriver IO, it was more of a function which I was thinking to design. Right? Why? Because instance variables gets called right by JavaScript instantly as you create the classes. But methods are called when you want them to be called. Right? So we took that approach over there. But here in case of Playwright, you might find that I am using the approach of creating instance variables for these locators. Why? The reason is because even if you create these and even if JavaScript runs them, right? Playwright is not going to find the element based on it. They will only find it once your functions are getting called. I hope I'm not sure like if you're getting into all this, but if you connect all the dots, this is what the summary is. Okay, and it will get clear once we
Understood.
discuss about page model. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great, right? So this has to be very clear, right? That what Playwright does is it takes the approach of lazy loading, right? It does not goes and find the element immediately. No, it will wait for these actions to be done, right? Once you start performing the action, at that point of time, it will go and find the element. Okay, let's move ahead. What we should do is, yeah. So okay, so we are good with this, right? So again, as I told last time was right, I'm going to use locator as a strategy always, right? In our case, I'm not going to use that get by role or all that thing, right? But while you record things through Playwright Inspector, you will find that they are using get by role, right? But and if you want them, please record these scripts and use them as is. For my thing, right? I am more convenient writing in this way, so I'll be writing it this way. Let's start looking at the methods one by one. Okay. Okay, great, right? So if you see this on the screen, right, let us explore some of things. Let us see like how do you fill the value, right? So this is an element which you found. If you want to fill the value, right, we have already seen there's a method called fill. There's a method called fill here, right? Right. This is like you want to send some text to a text box, right? Set a value to the input field, right? So if you whatever you send it, right, it will go and be added in the text box, right? That is how it works. Right? Okay. In all the cases, right, in all these methods, right, you would find, right, that the string has to, I mean, whatever that method is, right, in case of fill, it would expect you to provide a string value, right? That is the first value. But apart from that mandatory kind of a thing, you will also have something called options, right? Options object. Okay. And this is just an object where the values of the object, right, are being defined per function. If you look at fill, the option object will can have force, no wait after, and maybe more things, right? Timeout and a lot of such things, right? What I want you to what I wanted to convey here is I am not going to cover these options thing, okay? Because these are not these would be required for your very specific things, right? Most of your things with Playwright will work by just using the way we use it for any other language, right? Maybe WebDriver IO or Selenium. In case of those things, right, you just provide a specs like this and it works out. But what I want to convey here is that you have an option of an object uh, thing, right? In all these methods. If you look at, let's say, clear also, right? You would have an option object, but the parameters would be different. So what I'm recommending is that whenever you want to work on a particular thing and you feel like that the default way of working is not helping me, let's say I want something extra from it, do go and check this documentation, right? And go through this options object. Okay. Options object is what? It's like a parenthesis and you can have these parameters there: pause, no wait, after, timeout. But as I'm saying, in most of the cases you will never need them. You will never need them, okay? But you should be knowing that they exist, okay? So that's why I'm pointing this out. You can go and check this. If you see this, right, this is here. If I show you the even the clear part, I'm sure it might also be having the options object, right? What do you think of clear method, why it should have the options? It's just the extra parameters which Playwright is providing you to work on, right? But this will be used, this might be required in very specific, right? Maybe in just 0.5% of the cases. But in for us, right, I feel it was like you put all methods you use as is, right? You would be able to use them, right? And you will not face any difficulty. But if you have a difficulty, you should have a habit of going to the documentation and go through this option a bit if it might have some parameters within it which might help you. Okay. Okay. So we looked at the fill button, right? So let me start writing. So we covered one of the method called fill. And what is the input which it needs to okay, we'll look at this way, right? What is the input to be passed and what is the output it returns back. Okay. This is the best way to learn about a method. Understand the name of the method, understand the inputs which needs to be sent to the method, and what is the output being sent from that function, from that method, right? Once the execution completes. So we're talking about locator methods. And the first method we're talking about is fill. The input parameter of this is that we need to have string here, a string value, right? And output is what? I think it's a promise of void, I believe. Let's see. Fill. Does it tells here the written type or not? Yeah, it tells, right? Promise of void. Okay. Promise of void. So fill we know, right? This is to fill the value. The second method which we should know is about the clear, right? Clear is that if you want to clear some text from it, right? Clear the text from it, clear the input field. And again, so it does not require any input, and the output of this would be again promise void. Promise void. So there is no input required for the clear part, and this is promise void, right? How do you do it? Let's write it, right? So we are doing this way, right? We are filling the value and we're clearing it up. Let's do await page dot pause. Let's run it. Test case 19, and we are good.
Okay, just a quick question. We need to create an account, right, in order to utilize this demo shop, right?
Yes.
To log
You
in.
have to do it, and it's very straightforward, right? Just use
Yeah, yeah.
any of your email ID, and it will be able to create.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and if you were to notice, it tried to fill Akhil and then clear it out, right? Very simple approach. Okay, fill and clear methods. Okay, so we are good with fill and clear, right? Let's look at other methods. Let me put a check here. We did fill and we did clear. Okay. There is something called bounding box, right? Let us again, the name sounds very fancy, but let me tell you what it is. We are working on this email field, right? If you look at in the email field, if you go to your CSS part here. How to scroll it up from here. Okay, how it will come up. Oh, CSS is here, right? Sorry. Right. So if you see this, right, this you see this part. This is your bounding box. Bounding means that your element here, right? If you look at it here, right, this field, I think this is the one which it points to, the last one, right? The padding, I mean, the height, the width, the x and y position of it, of the element which you're working on, right? Bounding, right? Your element is bounded in a box, right? So a fancy name used in Playwright. Otherwise, if you go in the case of WebDriver IO Selenium, they use the term as dimension, right? What is the dimension of the element? Here they use the word as bounding box, just a fancy terminology, right? So let's try to see what do we get. Let's go here and try to correct it. We'll say L1 dot bounding box, right? Again, returns you what? It returns your promise of this, right? So we'll collect all this information and we'll say await and let's grab it bounding box and let's print it out. Console.log. Again, you might not need it anyway, right? This bounding box, but you should be knowing what is bounding box. Bounding box. Let's run it again. Come on, it should have been playing by now. Is it running? Yeah, it is running. Okay. Sometimes it gets. I'll have to stop this.
The exact same thing happened to me as well yesterday. I have to close the Visual Studio and reopen it, and it
Okay.
same thing happened.
Let me
It
try
is
to stop it
some
from
sort
here.
of
If I can
display right over
cancel,
there.
cancel test run. Come on, man.
It is not cancelling as well for me. I have to just close this Visual Studio Code once and open.
Open it up and it worked. Okay. Okay.
It's some sort of bug in this particular version, I guess.
Hmm. We are asking a lot of things to Playwright, right, to do for us. So it got uh,
Yes.
got irritated and said, okay, no, I'm not working for you anymore. Great. Okay, let's wait for this to get loaded. All right. So otherwise, we'll go and just run it through the command line. We always have that option to do.
And I think Visual Studio Code is one of the lightest IDE, right?
Right. That is the latest ID because it's not an ID first of all. It's just an editor,
Yeah.
right? So that's why it is the lightest part,
Hmm.
and people use it for all the cases. Even for Python, people use Visual Studio Code.
Yes.
Not for Java. Java, you should not use Visual Studio. You should be using like IntelliJ IDE, right? That's the
Mhm.
most advanced one currently in the market to be used. Yeah, Anand.
Again, I'm parallelly trying to run this test at my end. I'm just trying to open the page. For me, the
And
test is passing, but the browser is not opening up.
okay, you might have not set the headless mode to be yes, right? What you have to do is go to your playwright config file. Over
Playwright
there, you
config.ts.
right, you would have
Yeah,
headless thing, right? In the use section, you would have set it to
that's
true, or if it is not miss, if it is missing altogether, just set this over there.
this will be headless equals to false. It
Yes,
will be in define config
it is in the use section of the defined config.
use section. Okay. Okay.
this way, right?
Okay.
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 So let me run this to this part. So it should give me the x and y coordinate of the box uh, once it completes, and it would also give me the height and the width of the element. अरे यार profile project, sorry, not profile.
These are called annotations, right? And the dash dash project is annotation, right?
These are arguments, right?
Documents. Okay.
These are arguments which you're providing, right, over
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah.
Or if you see, right, this is like arguments, options, and all that, right? This is what they call it as.
I'm not exactly recalling the name. That's why I'm just asking.
Uh, okay, open up the browser. Okay, it would have printed bounding box. Let's see what is it printed on the screen. See, x and y coordinate, height and width, right? Let us look at the height and width of it if we can. If it would not close, let's see. There is a problem with it. It gets closed. No worries, right? But we understood this, right? X and Y and all this. If you see here on the login screen, you see 360 and 21. This is what it was referring to, right? The height and width of it. Okay. And the X and Y coordinate, like on the screen, where exactly it is placed. Displayed at that location. Okay, we also. Okay, great, right? So we understand bounding box. Let's look at other methods. Just a second. Bounding box. Bounding box. Yes, we're done. Okay. Okay. Let's say that if you look at this screen, right? Let me close this. Even this is an input box, right? This is an input box, and even this is an input box, right? The password key. Let us write X path or a CSS path, which will find me the input box only. If you see input, right, this is a CSS path which I've written, and it shows me one of two, right? There are two things, right? There are two things. So till now we have been writing a unique locator which can find the unique element on the screen, right? Now what we are saying is we let's see, like we will write a locator which can result into multiple elements being identified on the DOM. Like in this case, input tab, right? Like input thing. Let's grab it out, go to our code, and what we'll do is let's comment it out. Uh, okay, let me do one thing. Let's paste out locator, and we'll have input here, right? Now, again, this will give you nothing, right? It will just be saying let L1. Okay. Now, right? Once it will go and try to find this, you will be able to find two elements over there, right? Now, there are a lot of methods available on the locator part which can help you to select which element to work on, or let's say grab everything which you corrected over there, right? So let's look at those methods now. So one of the methods which could be helpful for is, let's say I want to understand how many such elements exist. I will say L1 dot count. Okay. What does this return me? It returns me a number of a within a promise, right? Returns the number of elements matching the locator. So we'll grab it. So wait, let count equals to this. Okay. So it will be able to count this. Uh, so we'll print it out also. Console.log log element count count, right? So it is done. Okay. Apart from this, right, on this part, let's say you wanted to see like what all elements did you have, right? What element did you got? What you will do here is there is a method called all, I believe, which works on it. So we'll say, yeah, Anand, please.
So this count will give the count of all the input types of tag, right?
Right.
Okay.
The whatever matches to this strategy, right, it will give you the count of it. Okay.
Got it.
So in our case, it is 2, so it should print 2 over there. What else we have? Now this is about the number of such elements. Let's say I want to see both the elements, right? Or I want to take the actions on all the elements which are collected using that element over there. What I can do is I can say L1 dot. There's a method called all. Okay, all. This all method returns you an array of this part, right? An array of locators. Okay, but that's a promise of. It's a promise of this. So what we'll do is let us say await. Okay, and what I'll do is, let's say I wanted to go through these items one by one. Let's say I'll write a for loop for const le of this, and I will say, now you understand this, right? What it will do is, once you are trying to run this code, right, what it will do is it will try to find the elements, all the elements which matches to input. So it will get 2 elements here, right? And so this for loop will run twice. In the first iteration of the loop, ELE will be pointing to the first element identified from here, right? The first item of that array. Let's say that is an email field, right? So if you look at LE, it is pointing to that element, right? That email field, right? So if you do a dot on it, you are getting, this is indeed what? This is an locator only, right? This thing over here gave you what? It gave you this. Let me write it. Locator dot all, right? Okay, locator, right? The X path or CSS path dot all gives you what? It gives you an array of the items which matches to this pattern, right? So in our case on the screen, it matches to 2 items. One is the email and second is the password, right? So both would be collected here, right? Because of this method, right? Now it will form an array, right? As an output of this, where zero index of the array will be pointing to the element 1, which is this, which is what? Which is a locator, right? Everything is like an allocator. So this is a locator, this is also a locator. But this locator is pointing to which element? Let's say this one, email thing. The the index 1, right, of this array, which it returns, right, as an output. Again, we have a locator, and this would be pointing to this element, right? Now, what we are doing is we are trying to iterate through this array, right? And I'm using a for loop for it. I'm saying const ele of, let's say await. I'm using await here itself, locator dot all. Okay, and here I'm opening the brackets and I say le. Now tell me, what does this le points to in the first iteration? To this locator,
Locator 1.
right? So if it is a locator, you will get access to all the methods which are available on the locator, right? Fill, clear, add, and all that, right? Whatever methods you are looking at. So let's say I want to fill some text to it. So I will say for test, let's say, right? And again, this is returns your promise. So you have to do what? Await here, right? And you're done. If you write this code, what will happen in both the fields? It will type pot test first in this field and then pot test in this field, correct? That is how it will do.
Yep.
So let's try this. Element fill. Let's say pot test, and we'll say await, right? Great. Okay, so it will do that thing, right? So we'll run it. One more thing before we run it, because it takes time for the execution. There's one more method which you can make use of, right? What we'll do is, we have seen, see what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you the methods which can help you to work in on a group of elements, right? So you can group things using the locator strategy which we have used. In our case, we've used input, and it has grouped all the elements which matches using this pattern and clubbed them together, right? So using this locator, you find all those. So one of the method which you can use on that part is count. It will be handful there, right? It will give you two there. This method will give you the individual locator itself, right? And there is a third method, right? There is a third method which you can use also. You can do what? You can say L1 dot. If I do L1 here, right? L1 will give you what? L1 will try to find, can try to go and find the, it will try to find the elements, all the elements with the input thing, right? But you are not using all here, right? You can see all has, if you want to collect all of them, you would use all. I don't want to collect all of them, right? I want to collect a specific element, right? A specific element. Let's say there are two input elements, right? Let's say I'm interested in getting the second one, right? The second one, the password one, right? The one of the approaches that you can use all and iterate through it and do something about it, right? The other approach is you can say just element and you can use nth. There is a nth function available here, right? And you will have to give the indexing of it. So if you are interested to work on the first field, you should say 0, right? And you can do what? It will return you what? It returns you a locator, right? Right? It returns a locator. You can say locator dot, and again you can say fill. And I will do what? I will say okay layer now. So, and now I'll put await. So tell me what would be the output in the email field after all this operation. What will you see in the email field? You getting it or no?
Akhil will go into the email field, right?
Yes.
Along with pot test, right? You have already set pot test there in the email field, and now you are specifically, and see pot test will be there in the email field and the password field, correct?
Hmm.
Both.
Right?
Yeah, both
Right,
On
in
fields are
both
the
the
there.
fields. And then this will do what?
on the
This will
first
do what?
email,
In
it
the
will
first, because
push
nth, you're saying nth0, right? Nth0 points to what? The first element identified using this locator strategy, right? It will go and fill Akhil there. But since you're not clearing it up, it should use pot test and then Akhil onto it. Let me just read out. It should not clear by default.
Won't it rewrite over Akhil
No,
when it?
that's why there's a clear method, right? An extra. If you want to do a clear first, you can do it clear and then work on
No,
any
no.
fill part.
If we explicitly clear and then write, then it makes sense that it will remove pot
Hmm.
test and then it will fill Akhil.
Right.
But if I am already when pot test is still is already there in email, and then I'm again running the nth fill,
Hmm.
so shouldn't it be rewriting pot test on
No,
pot test,
I,
or it will
as
append?
per, it will append, right? It will append.
It will append. Okay.
It will append. As per my understanding, it will append. But again, it also varies, right? Because if you remember, in case of WebDriver IO, the I don't remember the function. I think it was keys. What it does, it used to do is it used to auto clean also,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
But
That's the reason.
but here I don't feel it is auto clean. It will auto clean. It will just append. Okay, after that part. But let's see. What does
Okay.
it say? I'm just trying to read the documentation also. Maybe it might also clean it up, but I don't know. Note that you can pass an empty string to clear the input field. Okay. If you want to clear the field, you have to pass the empty string. Okay, let's see, right? I feel it should be pot test Akhil, but let's see, right? What it will do. Let's run the code. So control C. Now is my test thing running? Page pause, right? So I hope I have put in the await everywhere. Let's run it. Yeah, it has started. The output which we are expecting is that first of all it should print 2, right? Element count as 2, and then it should go and fill pot test in both the fields, and then it should go and fill Akhil in the email field. Okay, pot test, right? You see? Okay, it has cleaned, right? Okay, great. So it is cleaning also. Okay, great. So yeah, Anand, you're right. It is also cleaning it up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is cleaning it up, right? You can see pot test is not there anymore. If you look at it,
Yeah.
this is pot test. If I inspect this, you see the pot test. So it is still pot test. The above one is Akhil, right? Okay. But I hope, right? What I'm trying to tell you here is about this part, right? Which is these three methods: nth, all, and the count. Right? You have to understand that these will make sense only in those cases where the locator which you're providing results into multiple elements being found. Okay, so these methods belongs for those purposes. Okay, let me right. Yeah, please. I cannot see the screen. Yeah, please. Who's this?
Akhil,
Yeah, please. Yeah.
this is just an observation on my side. I'm trying to run the script parallelly. For
Uh-huh.
me, what I'm observing is it is once the script is getting closed, the account is not getting logged out. It is directly, getting me logged in every time when I'm running my test.
Okay. Yep. Who's this? Actually, I'm not able. My
I think
second.
it's because
Yep.
of cache.
But it is that Chromium browser that it is kicking off. So how do I clear that if it is the cache? Or should
You are
I try?
you are running it through this only, right? The way which I'm running.
Yes, yes, I'm running it through. Yeah, yeah, it's the same way.
You're running through this testing, right? So okay. Do one
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Do one thing. Try to clear the cache here.
Okay, clear. Okay, here it.
Clear cache,
Okay,
right?
here's
Clear
now.
cache. Okay, and try to run it again.
Okay,
You are using which
clear.
URL? The same URL?
Same. I'm working on the same demo
Account login, right?
ever
Account login, right? Not IO. Account login.
Ah, okay. I did not append it account login. Okay. Okay. My bad. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
this will land
Sorry.
you on the home page.
Right. That's I was
Yeah.
thinking that it was the logged in login page.
No, no. This is for the login page. This is the URL. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Right. So let's move ahead. So what we covered is we covered nth, we covered count, and we covered all. Right. So we understand all this. In the case of nth, the input which you can provide is a number. The output is not a promise. It's not a promise. Sorry, it's a promise, right? It's a promise. Promise. Okay, no, it's not a promise. Just a second, let me check. Nth returns you what? It just gives you the locator, right? It just gives the locator, not the promise. Similarly, all right. It all returns your promise, right? It returns your promise, but that promise contains the array of locator, right? Not the actual locators, but just the objects of those locators, right? Using this. Okay, so you will get this. Okay, this is one thing. Count is gives you what? Gives it takes no inputs. It takes no inputs and gives you an promise of number. Okay, great, right? So we covered five methods. Let me put a check on my side also. Count, count. We did all method, and we did one more thing, which is the nth method. Great. Okay, there are two more methods which we should very quickly see. There is something called first and last, and the click method. Okay, click we'll talk about. These are very quick. So again, under the same category, right? Under the same category, you have a method called first, and you have a last method, right? So what happens here, right? If you use this, right? If I go back to the code and it says that page locator, right? You know that it will go and find multiple elements because it matches to multiple elements path, right? Now, let's say there are hundreds of them, right? And out of those hundreds, you are interested to work only on the first one, right? Only on the first one. So one of the approach for you is to use what? Use ns0, right? And you'll be able to get the first element which matches to that pattern, right? The other approach which you could do is you could say await l1 dot first. Okay, the first part, and that's it. And first returns you what? It returns you the locator, so you do not need this. You will need it once you try to fill some text to it, right? Or take some action on it. Let's say this time I'll write Jan, and this time you will need to use await. Okay. Similarly, if you wanted to use work on the last element, which is identified using that approach, there is a method there called l1 dot last. Okay, someone is at the door. Give me a sec. I'll be back. Just
Can you keep the ID open? Sorry. Thank you.
Hi, Anand.
Yeah, hi Kiran.
Yeah. Are you practicing side by side while seeing the lectures?
Oh yes, I actually am trying to,
Mm,
because I am not able to find much time post
right.
the office hours and all. So I'm just trying to, do some real quick hands-on while the session is going on.
Mhm. That's good.
It is
That's the
actually
best.
becoming very tough to handle
That's the
both
best way,
at
Anand.
the same time.
That's the
Yes.
best way.
Yeah,
Actually.
indeed.
Okay.
As Akhil mentioned, we have to struggle. No other
No, no. If
option.
you if you but like in my case, I didn't join for many classes. Now I'm procrastinating. Like whenever leave it, like you miss the class, it's better to just have it hands on so you can have a satisfaction. That you did something. At least being right there.
Uh, okay, so let's start, right? Let's resume. So here, right, we have a method called last here, right? Which will do what? If you have multiple elements identified using this locator thing, and if you use last on it, it will go to the last one and try to do something on it, right? Let's say pot test. So what I'll do is, let's not say pot test. Let me write uh, Udemy. Okay, let's say write Udemy, right? So what will happen now? Using the first, right, it will find it. Let's say L1 will be it will be matching to multiple elements. Out of those matching elements, it will take the first one out of it and fill gen on into it, right? Similarly, there's a last method. It will look at this L1, the locator, and see how many elements are identified through it. It will go to the last such element and fill Udemy to it. Okay. So again, very straightforward. We'll run it and see the part of it. So first and last. So this returns you the. It does not take any inputs, and they return you locator, not the promise of it, just the locator, right? And then you can work on it. Okay. Yeah, please.
I was wondering about while using the role-based locators, I was wondering how can I index those locators. So this is
Similar, same case, right? Those role things also returns you locator only,
right, right. So
right? So
as well as when I was learning CSS selector, there also indexing is little tough. So this
uh,
can be very handy towards
absolutely correct.
selecting.
Right. This will be very handy in those cases only,
Mm,
because I don't think, right. I mean, every language has every tool has a way to find a particular element, right? You like
mm,
in if you see, I am not collecting it, but again, if you talk about Selenium, right? In Selenium, the approach what you can take over there is, what you can do is, you can find all the elements, right, using find element that I'm forgetting the name. Find
and
elements, right? Find elements. Find elements will give you an array, or I think a set of elements, right, to you. What you
right.
can do is, you can find the length of it,
Mm,
length of the element, and then you can go to the last element, right, within that array of that set of elements, right, and then
right.
work on it, right. That
Mm,
is the approach which you have to take, but you will have to design your own code, right, to do that. Here you have a handy way of just saying nth, but the back in the background, what is happening is, it's the same thing which is happening. It's
right.
just that the logic you don't have to write it. Someone has already written the logic for you,
Yes.
right? That is how it is.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, okay, moving ahead. So, I think we are clear with the these two parts also, first and last. Um, okay. There's a method called page. Yeah, please.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm just using page.pause in order to just see what is happening on
Uh,
the screen. But for me, it is, quickly getting
you have to say
closed.
you're using await also, right? Or no?
No, I'm just using page.pause, post the
Use
for loop.
await. Use await,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay, okay.
Because pause returns your promise.
Got it.
Okay. Okay. Just a second. My screen is back. Okay, great. Yeah. So where I was, yeah, there is a method called page. Okay, a page method. What does this give you? This helps you to get to the page on which this locator was identified. Okay, what does it mean? So you you went to the locator through this page, right? Imagine you have multiple pages opened up, right? Multiple tabs in opened up. So let's say you are working on locator, and you know, and you have lost the track on which page I came, like this locator is available on, right? So what you can do is there's a method, handy method on the locator. You can just say dot page on it, and it will give you the reference to the page from which you came here, right? I mean, on which page you are currently on. Okay. So there's a method called page. A page this locator belongs to. Okay. So there's a page method. So you will say locator.page and it will give you the reference, the access to the page object. And you can do what about it? You can then take the navigation path, right? Going forward, going backward, hitting the URL and all the stuff. So which we have covered yesterday, right? So page will does not need any inputs and it returns you a promise of page. And once you get it, you can do all the operations which can available at the page level. Okay, so let me try to show this also very quickly. We say await L1 dot page and it returns you what? Page returns you what? It does not returns you, okay, it returns you only, okay, it does not need to be a promise. It's just a simple page. I would say LP1 equals to this, right? And then you want to do some action on the page. Let's say I want to hit a new URL. You will say go to and provide a URL and you will put await, right? This is how things will work. Okay. Okay, great. So page also, right? So it's not the promise, it's just the page. Okay, what else? What else we should be doing? Okay, these methods, right? This is a method. See, you do not have to look at all the methods. Okay, let's look at one of the methods called click and double click. As the name says, right, they might be very clear to you. You have a button here, right? And let's say in some of the case, in most of the case, a single click will work, right? But let's say you want to do a double click. Let's say that is how the operation is designed to have on the particular thing. So there's a method for it. It's called double click. Very straightforward again. So you can just go and click on it and double click on it. They do not need any inputs. And you can just, I think it will return you what? Let's see. Click returns you what? Clicks an element, right? And you are returned with what value? Void. Okay. Similarly for double click also. You are returned with a void, right? The promise of void. Promise of void. Similarly here, right? Promise of void. Click and double click. What else? Click and double click. Now we have the methods left, right, to work on some specific things, right? Let's say you're working on a checkbox. I do not have a checkbox here. Let's find one checkbox if I can. A checkbox demo site, if I can have it. Demo site. Let's open this up. I don't know. We have a checkbox, right? So these are checkboxes here. This should not. Okay, let's see this. This is a checkbox. These form field set. So this is the form section. This is the form section, and this is the form thing, right? The form demo form. And within it, I have to go and let's say select on a checkbox called, this is one field set. This is another field. There are 4 field sets. I need to click on the second field set, which is this one. And within this field set also, input, right? This is the checkbox. This is the checkbox which I am interested to click on. Let's try to find checkbox 2. Do I have it with just this value? ID equals to checkbox. Is it able to find? Yes, 1 of 1, right? So it is a perfect match. So let's use this one. So as you can see, right, it's a checkbox, right? So what Playwright has done is, let me just create a new test case first of all. Again, I think, right, this is very straightforward, and you will be, if I run it, you will be able to see that it works, right? So I'm not running it. It takes time. Let's put a script to it. Let's write test, and we'll create test case 20 async page, and what we'll do is we'll say page dot go to and hit the URL. Okay, no, this is not what I wanted. I wanted to have page.locator this value. Okay, we are good, right? And let's get the URL of it. URL is this one. We have to say await and page.locator. Okay, so now for the checkboxes, right? For the checkboxes, there are two specific methods available on the locators, right? On this level. So since you know that you are trying to deal with the checkbox right now, so there are very handy methods. One is called check, okay, check. Another is called uncheck. Okay, so let's do it one by one and see whether it happens or not. Uncheck, right? Let me just show you the documentation also. Check ensures that checkbox or radio button is checked, right? So this can work on both the places, checkboxes also and radio buttons also. And if you see, we also have a radio button here, right? These are radio buttons. So even for these, right, it will work, right? So let me write. Let's run it first. Let's run it first. And we want it to pause. Okay, we want this to, or I can run in a debug mode. Let's run in debug mode. Let's run the test case. Debug.
If you set the debugger, but if you don't run it into a debug option with debug option, it doesn't debugs, doesn't runs in debug mode. Like you have set the debugger point, that red dot, and
Uh,
what if you just click the run button, not instead of debug button?
See, debugger works only if you have a breakpoint in place, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If you,
breakpoint is there.
uh,
Then I saw that you clicked on, instead of click on the run, you click the second option, which is debug.
right, right. If you want to
Yeah,
debug, you have to click on debug only. Run will
debug
not
only.
wait.
Run won't. Yeah,
Run will avoid. It will just ignore
uh,
those breakpoints.
the breakpoint. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
What happened here? It is running, right? Yeah. Very slow, right? Very slow. It's my system which is slow here. Okay, so it has hit the URL here, right? Like this, and let's run it. We'll see what action it takes. What happened? No, there is some problem here, right? It is trying to find the element, but it is not able to get so. If I maximize the window, then no, there is some other problem here. Yeah, Kiran,
I tried with this website for check and uncheck for both the
it
ways
works there,
that worked.
right? So okay, let's remove this buggy website then. There are sometimes, right? There are some certain something, right, which you do not want to deal with, right? Unnecessarily. Looks like this is one of those websites. So let's just ignore it. Let's get to our thing. So test automation practice.blogspot. Okay, so where is it?
I used the recording option and then I clicked to both these. It automatically got the locators and it used a dot check and then uncheck.
Okay, great, right? That is how things should be done. Okay, if you have, because you have a utility to record things, great. But I want to show it by even scripting. So if you look at this checkbox, I hope it is not under any iframes or something. Let us see also.
It is not, I guess.
It is not right. It's a plain thing, right? So the checkbox looks like this, and we have value for Monday, right? So ID input ID, right? This one. Let me just use Control F input. How do we write hash? Right? Hash Monday. This is a CSS value. Hash Monday. Let's grab it up, and I can see it is saying one of one only. And let me hover over it. This is the checkbox. If I go and hit it here or hit it here, it should be this one, right? Let's try to run it and see if it works. I can just debug it from here also. Debug test. Okay, so okay, there are. I'll take 10 minutes more. Okay, if this runs, there are only 7 8 methods, but those are very straightforward. I just need to explain them. Ah, yeah, come on.
Maybe you can try the W3 schools site.
Okay, we can check it. If this does not work, we'll check it there also. But currently, the problem is my system. The debugger is taking too much time.
Okay.
Cancel test run. Only option is to close it. Okay. Okay, so
Terminal way is, I think, little faster.
right, this faster also, and I think running in debug mode is something which creates a problem. Otherwise, playing a test case from the this also right is also working fine.
Yes.
So let me do one thing. Let me put a await page dot pause. Let's try to run it. Okay, but the it is not installed yet. The extensions are not loaded yet. The problem here is that my script has gone very big, and that is what it is taking effort on the extension, right, to locate things. See,
Right.
So what are we expecting onto the browser once it open? Will it open some tool to move to the next step?
no, we are. I just want to show you like what does this check and uncheck method do, right?
Yeah, that is fine. Like when I'm trying the same at my side, I just put the two breakpoints in the
Mm-hmm.
script, and I also click on the debug test.
Okay.
For me, the page has opened up. It is
Huh?
still loading. So what
Which
should I
is
be
so
seeing?
your screen is like your code is stuck here, right, at this line. So you would
Yes,
be
I think yeah.
so
So
you would be seeing a panel where there would be a play
oh,
button and a
okay,
step over,
okay.
right?
It is
So
in the tool. It's in the ID. That
right,
okay.
right. So you have to either press play button over there, right, and it will move ahead.
Oh, it is for me, but it is only this pause button that is there. Play button is disabled.
You
I
ran it
don't see
what
play button.
you ran a run test or debug test.
Debug test. I clicked on debug test.
So you should be able to
The
see here, like this, right?
yeah, this one. Yeah, I clicked this one only.
Let, okay, let's see.
And yeah, okay. Well, let's see. I do see that small toolbar in the Playwright ID,
Uh-huh.
in the Visual Studio Code ID. Over there,
Uh-huh.
pause button is enabled, but the move to next step, then two arrows up and down, those are disabled. And then there is a reload button that is there, which is enabled again.
Hmm. It should be enabled actually, but let's see. Running global setup. Yeah, takes too much time. Okay. Running one test with one worker. So slow it is. Okay, I will not use it afterwards.
So see, for you also it is kind of similar to what I'm seeing. That
I think
pause
it is.
button is there.
See, for me, at least it opened up the browser, right? And if you hit the URL, it went there. It will try to search for it. If you see right now, it is here, right? And when you see this, you see these controls.
Oh, it took the same time for me as well. Now I see the play button is there, which
Great.
got enabled. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So now you should run this step over, okay? Not the play button. Do a step over
Yeah.
and let's see whether it was able to check Monday or not. You see, Monday was checked, right?
Yeah. And also this highlights that locator as well. That element as well. It is getting highlighted. Yeah, I could see
Ah,
that in your case as well.
highlighted as mean what? Like
Yeah,
here, no?
this locator was highlighted
Okay,
just a moment ago.
okay,
It was
maybe.
there.
So now we are on the this one, right? And it should uncheck. If I do an uncheck, let's see what did it do? Yes, it was able to uncheck, right? That is what my intention was to show this here, right? The check and
Okay.
uncheck. But you have to understand that this check and uncheck works for checkboxes also and redo buttons also, right? So you know like how to work on. Okay, let me just first close it. Let me close all this. Let's go back to our uh, thing over here. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that if you see like if you have to work on a button, right? What operation can you do on a button? You can just click on it, right? So these things will help you on the button part, right? On the button part, right? If you want to work on a text box, right? What can help you? It will help you here is fill and clear, right? This is for a text box. If you want to work on a radio button or a checkbox, right? What can help you is check and uncheck. They do not need any inputs, right? And they return you promise void. Okay. I hope they return promise void. Yeah, man.
The click should also work with the text box as well, right? Sometimes there are sites where you have to specifically
Yeah,
click on them
it
to
will work, right?
enable.
I'm not saying it
Yeah.
will not work. It will work, but I'm just
Okay.
saying
Okay.
seeing that what methods meant
General
for, yeah,
general
general
purpose.
only, right? General way.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay, so these are for the radio buttons and checkboxes, right? Now, what we need to do is like if we have to work with a drop down, right? A drop down. Although I'll have, I think, okay, I'll cover drop down tomorrow, not today. But there's a method here given which is called select options. Okay, but it will work only in one particular case. For the other cases, we'll have to see like how to work on it. Okay, so we'll talk about this tomorrow. I will just today talk about remaining methods which are handy for everything. So if you see right, and then let's go back to our own website, which is this one, right? If you see this case, right, you have a lot of things here, right? Let's say this is an element, and I want to extract some information of this element. You go here on this, where is it? This one, right? If you see right, there is a text thing, right? Text thing being mentioned, sign in, right? Or let's say a class or a type, right, being mentioned. Let's say I want to collect the type information. What is the type of this button? Submit, right? What is the class of this button? Primary. I want to extract these properties of this element. These are all properties, right? So how can you do it? For that, you have a method called get attribute. There is that get attribute, right? So what you can do is you can provide the attribute name which you are interested in for that element. So in my case, I am interested in the, let's say, the class, right, as a property. So what I'll do is let me first write an XPath or a CSS path to reach here. I will write button. Again, these are very simple things, right? That's why I'm covering it. Type equals to submit. I hope as small, right? Yeah. So I'm able to find. So I would come here, go up. Now let me just do a skip on this test case. and and unskip this one, and I will come here, right, and we'll say L1 dot not L1, sorry, we'll say page dot locator this part, and this would be let L2 equals to this one, and we'll say L2 dot get attribute, and here I'm interested in getting the class attribute, and it will return me the value of it, and this should be returning this, I think, promise of string, right, promise of string and null. Okay, so let's get the value await, and it would be text, right? Let's say collect class text, use class value, right, whatever it is. Okay, and I will print it out. Console.log class text is class text, right? But this is again very straightforward, so I'll run it in the end. So this is one method, get attribute, right? There are similar to it, right? If you wanted to get the text of a value, right? Let's say I want to get a text of this part, right? Of this button, right? Of this pen tag. What is the text say? Sign in, right? So for that, you have a method called, what you can use is inner text. Okay, inner text. Let me write inner inner text, right? Similar to it, there's a method called inner HTML, which returns you the HTML within that tag which you are interested in, right? So these are two different methods. Again, this will give you the text, this will give you the HTML code within that whatever tag you're interested in, right? Okay, these are two methods we have seen. Get attribute, right? So these are the methods to fetch some values of the like to fetch the properties or the HTML or the text, right, of a particular element, right? So you can use all this. Apart from it, right, there are some checking things, right? Some checking methods. Let's say you want to check whether the element is editable, whether the element is clickable, right, or the method is or something is getting checked or not, right? So there are a lot of methods. These are like is checked. Let's say you want to check that you made a click on a checkbox, and now you want to check is it really checked now. So there's a method called is check. It will return you a boolean value, pass a true or false, right, but in a promise, right, is checked. Similarly, you want to check like if something is disabled, so you can use this one. If you want to check if something is enabled, right, if you want to check if something is editable, it means that it is not grayed out, you can fill some text to it, right? Similar to it, you have is hidden. If something is hidden, right, with the hidden value set in the DOM, so that thing gets hidden. You can, the parallel of the opposite of this is the is visible, right? So there, these are the methods, right, which you can check, which you can use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? These are six, right? Which you can use for your purpose, right? And they will return you sorry, true or false value, right? Accordingly, right? Let's very quickly see this, and then we are done for today. What I'll do is I'll come here. We have seen this. Let me also collect the HTML tag, right, of this L2, and I will just directly collect it here. Console.log HTML inner HTML is await L2 dot inner HTML. Okay, I think it printed here. Great. We'll say inner text is. Let's look at the text. So we'll say inner text is inner text, right? And let's check whether it is editable or whether it is enabled or not, right? So we'll say again console.log and say is enabled L2 is is enabled, yes, right? And you can check what does it return. It returns you a promise of boolean value, right, true or false, right? And let's just check it. B is disabled also, right? It should give the opposite of it. Is disabled is disabled, right? And so on, right? You can check a lot of other properties also, like if I show you, right, is hidden, is visible, right? In all of that, hidden, visible, enable, disabled. Again, depending on your context, you can choose on any of these. Let me say is hidden, right? Let us check is hidden. So here I'm expecting it to be true. Here I'm expecting it to be false. It should return here sign in. Here it should return me the tag which is called span tag with sign in within it, and it should say slash spam here, right? Spam here. These are the outputs which I'm expecting, and here it should return me button primary. Let's see what does it all give, right? Let's run the code. I hope I have not used page.pause here. Right, nothing. Let's run the test case. I'm not going to do it this way. I hope I have skipped the other test case. Oh, I have used page.pause. No worries. Right. And we will wind up for today. Come on, are you running or not?
Just for the people who are still in the call, daily
Mm-hmm.
practices is really going to help. Even
Yes.
if a half an hour, even if an half an hour, even I can, even say that because everyone is right now in the call,
Hmm.
focus on the last part of every session that we are doing. That's where, like in the last 1 hour, what we are doing, that's where we have the major practical stuff that we are doing. So try to at least go through it. Else backlog is going to pile up.
Right.
Yes.
See,
There
if you
is
see
there is
right here,
no way.
if you see this right, this is where this is what I printed here, right? Button primary, right? The HTML tag, the inner text information is enabled and disabled, right? So accordingly, there are 3, 4 more methods is the disabled and all that, right? But these are all available at a locator level. Okay. Now, if you see right, we have worked on. We have. Okay, let me just close this out. We have seen all these methods, right? Tomorrow, and we now know how to work on a text box, button, radio button, checkbox, right? Because those are the things which you can do on these things. What is pending in our understanding of things, right? But we will start from tomorrow, either tomorrow or what, I don't know. Like tomorrow, I wanted to work on this waiting strategy. Okay, so tomorrow class would be about waiting strategy. So we'll talk about auto waits and all the timeouts which Playwright provides. Okay, we'll talk about this. But at the element level, what is pending is we have to talk about how to work with a drop down, how to work with the frames, right? How to work with a shutdown, how to work right? How to work with web tables, right? Web tables. So right,
Web tables,
these
I
are
do recall that are part of interviews a lot.
right. So these are
Questions.
these are the things, right, which are asked in almost every places. So yeah, so we'll cover these 4 things. What else? Yeah, mouse events, right? How to do the mouse events, how to do keyboard events, right? So these are the major things which are pending from the playwright understanding, and we'll do it. Okay. But tomorrow my class we'll have a class first of all tomorrow. Okay, we'll have a class at 8 or 8:30. I'll confirm. And what we'll talk about the waiting strategies in playwright. Okay, and then maybe from Monday we'll start on this part. So very soon we are going to start on framework designing, maybe next week itself, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. But before that, we should be able to wind these things up. Okay.
Okay.
Understood. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for the day. Let's meet tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice day.
Okay.
Bye.
Nice
Thank you.
day,
Bye bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you guys. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.